What's up everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about the recent trailer for Pokemon Legends ZA new DLC, Mega Dimensions, and in this video I'm just going to be talking about my pros, cons, thoughts, and let's dive into it, shall we? First thing I want to mention is the fact that this DLC exists. I think it's way too early. Pokemon Legends ZA isn't even a month old, and it's already getting a DLC coming out next month. This DLC really should come later, but I also don't think a Legends game should get a DLC at all. I think DLCs should be Pokemon-wise, should be reserved for generational Pokemon games, meaning only Pokemon games that introduce a new generation. So I don't think it should be getting a DLC on at all. Saying that, however, I am a little bit glad to see it though, because I love Pokemon Legends ZA. I beat it very recently. It's a great game, and I'm kind of happy to have a reason to just play more of it. So I'm excited to have more Pokemon Legends ZA, but I don't know how I feel about the existence of the DLC. But we should probably start talking about the stuff that's actually in it. And the first thing that I want to mention is the fact that this character named Asha is in it. And Asha with her mythical Pokemon Hoopa. And it's kind of interesting, but at the same time a little bit, There's some theories going around that Asha is related to Diancie, which is possible, you know. She was the champion in X and Y. I can see why people would think that, but she has to do a lot with baking. Diancie doesn't have anything to do with baking, so maybe she's related to Seabolt in a way. Whoever she is, I think it'd be really fun if she was related to a past Pokemon character, especially from X and Y, because I love that this game takes place 5 years in the future from X and Y, and you can have, you know, different people related to different famous characters from Pokemon. So I really hope this Asha character is interesting and a good character, but we really just don't know much about her, besides she has Hoopa. Speaking of the fact that she has Hoopa, why does she have Hoopa? Don't know. But, you know, we just don't know. We don't know why she has Hoopa. I wish we knew a little bit more information on that, but we'll know when the DLC comes out. It's also fun to think about how this DLC will play into the story of Pokemon Legends ZA, and how they're going to connect all the characters. Because it's just something we really don't know much about. We really only have this one trailer, so really, how is this going to work? We don't know what the story of the DLC is going to be, or how it's going to tie into the main story, but I am very interested. I also wonder if it's going to be a post-game exclusive, where you have to beat the game and then the DLC becomes available. Because, as I'll mention later, there's Pokemon over level 100, first time we've ever seen that, so maybe it takes place, or you can only access it at least, after you beat the game. Because that makes sense, because, you know, you're going to need to be strong enough to take on Pokemon over level 100, so how will this tie into the story? Don't know, but am very interested. Another main part of the DLC is the fact that you're experiencing this other dimension that Hoopa takes you to, that is basically Lumiose, but different. And I'm not actually a big fan of that, for the reason of the whole game of Pokemon Legends ZA takes place in the city. And that's okay. I'm actually really okay with that. I know a lot of people are, but I'm okay with it taking place in the city. But we finally get new content, and we can't even leave it. So it's a little bit disappointing there. But the dimension itself is very weird. And why does it exist? Why can Hoopa go there? I don't know. But I also want to mention that Hoopa himself is here. And that's very interesting, because we haven't seen anything really of Hoopa. It hasn't been important to any story at all in any past game, and its biggest role was in a movie once. So, you know, it's going to be nice to actually get some good Hoopa story and content in the game, even though I'm not actually a big fan of Hoopa. I don't dislike him, but he's a little bit boring to me, but at least we get to expand upon the information we know about Hoopa. Next thing I want to mention is kind of a con I have with the game. I know a lot of people will be excited for this, but personally I'm not. And I'm the type of person who likes order to things. Because of that, I'm also not the happiest that this game's getting a DLC at all, because I think only generational games should get DLCs. But since I do like things having more of an order, I'm not a big fan of there being Scarlet and Violet Pokemon in the DLC. Because it just doesn't really make sense. How, like, there weren't any in the base game, and if you look back to Pokemon Legends Arceus, there were no Sword and Shield Pokemon in that game. Sword and Shield was the most recent generation to that game, and there weren't any Pokemon from it in the game. So I feel like they should do the same with this. Scarlet and Violet are the most recent generation, so they shouldn't put any in this game. And I was happy they stayed true to that when I first played this game, but then they didn't. They didn't stay true to it, because apparently we're getting more Scarlet and Violet Pokemon in this DLC, and I'm not a big fan of that. But, speaking of that, if you look on the bright side of things, that means Scarlet and Violet Pokemon will have the chance to get Mega Evolutions, which is kind of just awesome. Like, think about it, if we get a Mega Evolution for Tinkaton, or Armarouge, or Ceruledge, those Pokemon are awesome, and it'd be awesome to see Mega Evolutions for those Pokemon. So, there's pros and cons to it, but in reality, I would rather there not be any Scarlet and Violet Pokemon in this DLC, but there are. Next thing I want to mention is something that I'm also not a big fan of, but that might just be because it's new. And that's the fact that Pokemon can go over level 100. And I also do wonder what this means. Like, how will it tie into the story? Because maybe that means you can only access the DLC, new content, after you've been in the main game of Pokemon Legends ZA. And that would, of course, make sense. If there's going to be Pokemon over level 100, you're going to need, you're going to need to have strong Pokemon, but there's also a downside, because for playing DLCs for Pokemon games, I like to get a new team, and I can't really have a new team because I'm going to want to use my original team because they're already really strong. So, I'm not a big fan of the whole level 100 thing. I kind of feel like they just wanted to be different, but maybe they went a little too different here. Because, I want to use different Pokemon in this area, but I basically can only use my, original team because they're the only ones I have strong enough. I'm not a big fan of that. And the main also concern I have is, will it be confined to this new dimension, or can we use it in regular Lumiose? I kind of hope it will be confined to this new dimension, because I feel like just having Pokemon over level 100 in normal Lumiose just won't really make sense. Next thing I want to mention is the new character they're adding, Karina. And honestly, I can already tell I'm going to be a big fan of her. I've already mentioned that I like it when they have characters related to other famous Pokemon characters, but they did it again with her, and that just makes me like her even more. Also, she's the person who gives you the new Mega Evolutions, and new Mega Evolutions are cool. So obviously, I'm kind of glad to see her. The second she appears, I'm going to be like, yes, new Megas! That's what I want to see! But at the same time, I doubt I use any of them, but it will be fun to see what the new Megas are. And I'm just glad she's here. If you've ever played Pokemon X or Y, you know how memorable it was when she first gave you your Mega Stone, or her relative first gave you your Mega Ring and Mega Stone for Lucario in Pokemon X and Y. So it will kind of bring back memories. And I also want to point out, Pokemon X and Y, or Pokemon Y to be specific, were my very first Pokemon games. So Pokemon Legends ZA and this DLC existing brings back so many memories. I love all the references. So yeah, I'm very excited for this Karina character, and very happy that she's related to a past Pokemon character. The last thing I want to talk about is the two new Megas shown in the trailer, and new Megas in general. And new Megas in general, I feel like is a touchy subject for me personally, because I don't know how I feel about them. Because I'm worried that Nintendo is just pumping us full of new Mega Evolutions while Pokemon Legends ZA is around. I bet next time we actually see Megas in a mainline game will be double the time, of break we took from new Mega before this game, And I feel like they just try and keep giving us them, and keep giving us them, and keep giving us them. And I'm not really a big fan of that. I wish they would have a little bit more order to things, like make Megas permanent. If they made Megas permanent, I'd be a lot more okay with this. But we all know that when Generation 10 comes around, Megas going to be gone, and they just keep giving us new Megas. The one positive thing about giving us new Megas is for Pokemon Champions, which is a game that I think comes out in 2027, 2026, and that game is where competitive will start taking place, and it will be very exciting to use all these new Megas for that game. But until then, I think new Megas in general are a little fishy. But on the topic of new Megas, we got to see two new ones in this trailer, and yeah, they're awesome. Baxcalibur is a Pokemon that I really thought needed a Mega, because I didn't really like Baxcalibur. I love Generation 9's Pokédex. I think it's definitely in the top 3 favorite Pokédexes, but I did not like its pseudo-legendary Baxcalibur. It looked ugly to me, and I did not want to use it. But this new Baxcalibur, it basically looks like what Baxcalibur always should have looked like. And Chimecho, well, I love it. I love the new Mega. I'm glad it exists. The only thing is they keep giving Megas to weak Pokemon, and then they're not really strong. Chimecho will easily get overshined by all the other pseudo-legendaries getting Mega Evolutions. So I feel like for Mega Evolutions that we've seen so far, they chose one that's way too strong and one that's way too weak to really get a Mega. Now Baxcalibur is going to be overpowered, and Chimecho is just going to be an average Pokemon like it should have always been. But I am happy that they chose these Pokemon. They did good choices, even though I don't think Baxcalibur or any Gen 9 Pokemon should be in the game. I am excited to see these 2 new Megas in the game. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm really excited for the DLC because I love Pokemon Legends Z8. The concerns I have are pretty heavy. So, peace out, everyone.